My name is Mwenge Mufuzi. I'm from Zambia. I'm currently based in South Africa, Pretoria. And I was the representative of the alumni for this year, for this Jubilee celebration. And my message was to encourage them to continue the momentum that they started with since they became Christians. So I quoted Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 to 2, that talks about that since now that we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. And the author of the book of Hebrews wanted his readers who were discouraged at the time, who were planning to throw in the towel, give up, quit, and walk away, to remember that they have been through something that is not unique, because most people before them went through that and they made it. And if people who came before them made it, they can also make it. So when the book of Hebrews in chapter 12 begins by saying therefore, which is in view of what I said, is making a reference to Hebrews chapter 11, where we are seeing great heroes of faith who have made it through terrible situations. We are seeing Abel, who illustrates the simplicity of faith, who really offered a wonderful sacrifice. And we've seen the illustration of Enoch, the stability of faith, who walked with God when nobody else would. And we see Noah, who illustrates the significance of faith, who was asked to build a boat, an ark, where there was no rain before him, and that was kind of a joke, but he did it because of faith. And we're seeing Abraham, who illustrates the sacrifice of faith. He was asked to offer something that was so precious to him, his only begotten son. I mean, the son that he loved very much, somebody that he tagged around for his whole life. And then we see Isaac, the submission of faith. He illustrates the submission of faith. He submitted to be sacrificed by his father. And then we see Joseph, who illustrates the success of faith. And all these great heroes of faith that are mentioned in the book of Hebrews, in fact, when you go down, we also see Moses. We also see the great patriarch that are called a great patriarch in the book of Judges. What we see is that these men were not unique to us. They were just like us. But because of their faith in God, they made it. So the author of the book of Hebrews wanted the people to look back and see how they've made it, that they were not unique to their situation, but there was something that they had which they also had, and that is God. So if you can get rid of a team that's not supportive and hang around people who understand who God is and hold on to that, you can make it, because others in the past have made it. And then he said, get off or get rid of the weight that hinders. And here he's talking about the encumbrance, something that weighs you down. It might not be sinful, but it's not useful in your life. It weighs you down. It slows your momentum. And every person has something that weighs them down. So when you are moving slowly, just check around your life. Ask God to show you, what is the weight that is weighing me down right now, so that I put it off, so that I begin to run the race that God has set before me. And then he spoke about the sin that so entangles you. Now it's very interesting here. He's talking about the sin in the singular, using the definite article the, meaning this was the specific sin that the Hebrews knew about it. And most likely it was the sin of unbelief, because the book of Hebrews is encouraging the readers to continue in the faith that the fathers who walked before them continued in, and not in the faithlessness that the fathers who went before them embraced, and they did not enter the rest of God. So when we're talking about faith, here's how we need to understand faith. Faith is acting like God is telling the truth. Faith, it is acting like it is so, even when it is not so, in order that it might be so, simply because God said so. Faith is a conviction. It is a persuasion of the reality of things that are not seen. So the author of the book of Hebrews, he wanted the discouraged Christian to look beyond their circumstances and see a joy that is set before them. No wonder he said, focused on Jesus, who is the author and the finisher of our faith, who endured the cross because of the joy that was set before him. So he wanted the people to see what was beyond them. And this is what we can do as the alumni. When we focus on what is beyond us, even if we might not have the financial support, we might not have what we might need to make our lives sustainable, but if we can see what is beyond us, we can get strength for today from looking at the future, at what God has prepared for us.
Very good.